Somewhere between world-shifting leak and TikTok edit with Subway Surfers gameplay in the corner, we kind of lost the plot. A whole file can drop that proves stuff people were called crazy for saying, and within 24 hours, it's just more media for edits. And the wild part is, this isn't just the internet being the internet anymore. It's literally the perfect setup for the people at the top who would love for you to laugh, scroll, and forget they ever got exposed. There used to be this unspoken rule that some things were just off limits. Like you didn't crack jokes about certain tragedies in public because everyone understood, nah, this one is real, this one hurts. Now it feels like the rule is flipped. If it exists, give it a goofy caption and slap a goofy song on it. Predators, war criminals, leaked files about the darkest stuff you can imagine. Everything is fair game for content. And yeah, memes can be fun, memes can be a coping mechanism, whatever. But when you zoom out for a second, you start noticing this pattern that's like way less harmless than it looks at first glance. Because the second something actually threatening to the system drops, it gets processed through this giant meme blender. And by the time it hits your For You page, the main takeaway is just, haha, that's wild. Then you move on. Let's be real, this didn't come out of nowhere. 2 whole generations basically grew up with a screen in their face and the worst parts of humanity one tap away. If you're Gen Z, your classmates were probably watching some insanely graphic video at lunch like it was just another clip, and you're sitting there thinking, why do you even have that on your phone? And if you said, yo, can we not? You were instantly the one killing the vibe. There was a whole era where sites like LiveLeak were just right there. No age check, no warning, nothing. One friend back in middle school would be like, bro, look at this, and it'd be a full-on execution video, some real person's last moments, playing between math class and the bell. That stuff doesn't just disappear from your brain, it scrambles your sense of what's normal. At the same time, older generations love to act like we're the sensitive ones. But back then, if a TV show even hinted at joking about a major tragedy, boomers were on the phone calling the network like, cancel this show right now, this is disrespectful. Now, some of those exact people are in the comments under AI edits of real-world horror like dying of laughter. And then you look at how we react to big leaks now. Think about when huge files drop, stuff that confirms the darkest rumors about what certain elites were doing behind closed doors. We're talking trafficking, abuse, all the worst things people get called conspiracy theorists for even mentioning. The government will literally deny this stuff for years, then finally dump millions of pages, and within hours, TikTok is filled with cutesy edits and goofy captions of the exact monsters those files were exposing. There are people who spent years digging into that, getting labeled insane, ruining their own peace trying to warn everyone. Then finally the receipts start coming out, and instead of everyone locking in on, okay, what do we do with this? The loudest thing you see is brain rot humor. You're scrolling through kawaii edits of predators, sad piano fan cams of people who helped ruin lives, and reaction images under every serious post like it's just another fandom beef. And if you make a video like, hey, this is actually serious, here's what's in these documents, half your comment section is memes, reaction gifs, inside jokes, LMAO, this is wild with 1,000 likes. You're sitting there rereading the same lines about real victims and real crimes while your own audience is treating it like a filler episode. It makes you feel insane, like you're the only one in the room who realizes the house is on fire. The wildest part is, there's literally a name for this. People call it memetic warfare, using memes and jokes as a way to frame which ideas feel cool and which ones feel cringe and corny. If they can make caring about something look corny, they don't have to ban you. They just let the timeline bully you into silence. And it's not even just about government psyops or some secret meme department in a basement somewhere, even though, low-key, that wouldn't be shocking at this point. It's also about the way platforms are built. Fast, clickable, unserious content eats everything. Anything that doesn't fit into the haha pipeline has to fight way harder to survive in your feed. You can literally watch the shift if you compare time periods. After something like 9/11, there was this long stretch where jokes were basically banned socially. Shows that even touched it in a bit were getting flooded with angry calls and letters, people canceling memberships, full outrage campaigns. Now you have events on that same level of horror, and the algorithm's like, cool, here's a sped up fan cam with Sigma music and a Minecraft parkour background. And to be super honest, a lot of us are part of the problem. It's not just them. Most of us have laughed at an edit of someone we know is a terrible person because the audio was funny or the timing was perfect. You double tap, send it to a friend, and then like 2 hours later you remember, wait, that guy wasn't a fictional villain, that was real. You even see people making straight up sympathy edits for people who don't deserve an ounce of it. Sad montage, soft music, tragic backstory vibes, like we're rehabilitating their image through fan cam aesthetics.
If you showed those to someone from 20 years ago, they'd think we all fully lost it. But for us, it just blends in with everything else on the feed. This is where it starts to really mess with the community. Because when everything is content, nothing can stay sacred for more than like 48 hours. Real families are reading comments under clips of their own trauma and seeing people reduce it to punchlines. Gen Z jokes about being numb, but a lot of that numbness is real. It's just hiding under humor because it's the only way we know how to process all of it. And here's the part that nobody really wants to sit with. When every scandal, every leak, every exposed crime gets turned into content, the people being exposed actually win. They don't have to shut you up. They just have to outlast the meme cycle. If they can stall long enough for the story to become old news, the internet does the cleanup work for them. Like, imagine you're some billionaire or politician who's been lying about everything for a decade. You finally get outed, documents drop, your name is all over it. For a moment, it's terrifying. People are posting receipts, threads, deep dives. Then the edits start. Then the jokes. Then you become a character. Give it a week and half the people who know your name know you more from memes than from the actual crimes. And because so many of us already feel like nothing will change anyway, we lean even harder into that. Like high-key, it's easier to spam internet undefeated in the comments than to sit with how powerless you feel. It's less painful to treat everything like a bit than to admit, yo, this actually scares me and I don't know what to do about it. So we laugh it off, scroll, and tell ourselves it's just how things are now. Let's be honest, the disconnect between Gen Z and government is insane. Most of the people signing things, passing bills, and making the calls don't look like us, don't talk like us, don't live like us. So when they get caught doing something horrible and nothing happens, it just confirms that feeling. Yeah, we're cooked. And when you already believe you can't change anything, turning it into a meme almost feels like self-defense. But that's exactly why this whole pattern is so dangerous. If the default reaction to corruption is make it funny, then nobody ever has to be scared of consequences. The worst thing that happens to them is trending for a few days and getting turned into inside jokes. After that, it's back to business as usual for them and back to doom scrolling for us. So what do you actually do with that? Because low-key, it's not realistic to say, no more memes ever, everyone be serious 24/7. Humor is how a lot of us survive this timeline. The goal isn't to kill jokes, it's to stop letting jokes kill our ability to care. That means drawing a line. Next time some massive leak or disturbing story drops, instead of only watching the funniest edits, force yourself to sit through at least one breakdown that actually explains what's going on. Read a thread, watch a long-form video, listen to the boring context. Yeah, it feels like homework, but if you're gonna have an opinion, you might as well know what you're reacting to. It also means not being scared to be corny in your own circles. If your friends are sending around an edit of something that genuinely bothers you, it's okay to be the one who goes, yo, I can't really laugh at this one. They might roast you for a second, but a lot of people secretly feel the same way and just needed someone else to say it first. And if you're a creator, you don't have to become a full-time investigator, but you can choose how you frame things. You can refuse to turn certain people into mascots or main characters just because it would be good for views. You can say, I'm not giving this man a sad edit, I'm giving you the receipts instead. Even visually, you can switch it up. When you talk about real victims and real harm, stop the goofy editing for a second. No goofy sound effects, no spammy jump cuts, just let the weight of what you're saying land. That contrast alone tells your audience, hey, this part is different, pay attention. Because here's the truth, every generation gets told, it's over, nothing will change, the system is what it is. And every generation still ends up flipping something. Laws change, norms shift, entire industries get forced to move differently because people decided to stop laughing and start pushing. There's zero reason Gen Z has to be the only generation that just made memes while everything burned. So yeah, keep joking about dumb stuff, clown bad takes, roast each other's outfits, make edits of fictional villains, whatever. But when we're talking about genocide, trafficking, systemic abuse, and governments getting caught lying to your face, that's the moment you don't let yourself treat it like AI slop on your feed. Next time a massive scandal drops, just notice how fast your For You page tries to turn it into a bit. Notice how quickly the tone shifts from this is horrifying to this is trending audio. And then ask yourself, who actually wins if I only interact with the jokes and never with the facts? You don't have to fix the entire world, but you do get to decide whether you're part of the crowd that laughs everything away or part of the group that says, nah, this one matters, I'm actually paying attention. Because the second enough people choose that second option, suddenly the memes stop being the final chapter and start being the intro to real backlash. So yeah, laugh when it's just vibes, but when real people are getting hurt, don't let anyone, not the algorithm, not the government, not your own numbness, convince you that it's just content.